in my hands, huh?
You need the exercise, buddy.
I need the exercise.
Yeah,
bro, you're fat as fuck, bro.
You're
50 pounds heavier than me.
But your wife is ugly as fuck.
You don't even have a wife. No one would ever marry you.
Bro, I'd rather be dead than have your fucking wife.
Popping bottles, fucking models.
Model. Singular.
All right, I'll be back.
Last night on Poker Night in America, things got a bit strange and a bit out of the ordinary. Salomon Ponte, a.k.a. the hashtag king as he likes to call himself, was on the show last night, and he was, let's just say that the reaction he was getting from the people in the chat, from everybody on Twitter, was not very positive. Now, as you can see from the first clip that we showed, the language was very vulgar. There was a lot of bitches. There was a lot of scumbags and fucking scumbags, fucking bitches, calling people's girlfriends and wives whores, challenging people to fights, trying to barter off his possessions, his watch, his phones, his fucking passport at the table. It was a show unlike anything other. And there was a break last night. I did a stream because a lot of people want to know, Joey, what'd you think about this? And we're definitely going to get into that. And there was also, at one point in time, he challenged Doug Polk to a $1 million heads-up match. You heard that right, a $1 million heads-up match.
Show up with a million? Bro, if you tell me a fucking million, show up with a million.
So I think the big question out there is, what's kind of the overall takeaway from this show? Is this good for poker? Is this bad for poker? Do we want to see more of a guy like Salomon Ponte on the show, calling people fucking scumbag ass motherfuckers, calling people bitches, calling people's wives whores, and those type of things? Me personally, not really. That's not what I'm looking for when I watch poker. But at the same time, you might say that some of the poker in these last couple of years has been pretty boring. So maybe a guy like this, a character, gets people talking, gets the show going. I think from a Poker Night in America's perspective, and from Mac Lance's perspective, we had him on the podcast to talk about this. I think he finds this a good thing for the show and good for poker. People are talking about it. I think a lot of people out there, the feedback was very, very negative. They said, get this guy off the show. I hate this guy. I want him to lose. But, it's good or bad for poker, I think we think about. And for me, I don't know. I think it's going to be bad when some people watch that. They're going to say, I don't want to watch this. I think some people are going to say, good, oh my God, I like this drama. And, I feel like we're in an environment now in the world where people like this stuff. They like the train wrecks. They like the reality stuff. They like this sort of gossipy name calling. They're into this. So is this a good way to get more people into poker, to find poker, to get them? It got me to watch the show, and I have not watched a Nolan Hold'em stream in quite a long time. So if it's going to get someone like myself who is a big fan of poker, who loves poker, but isn't going to really watch poker that often except for the Super High Roller Bowl or the World Series of Poker main events, then some people could say, well, maybe that is good for poker. And now I'm curious out there, I've heard a lot of stuff out there already on Twitter, like I said, on 2+2, on Reddit, shout out to Reddit. And I'm kind of curious what everybody out there thinks. Is this good for poker? Is this bad for poker? And sort of why? Could it be dialed down a little bit, hashtag king? Could you dial it back maybe a couple notches, right? Does it need to be that extreme? During the show, he's going back and forth with Shaun Deeb. It's just, nonstop, hours and hours and hours. You sort of, Mike Dentale, man. Mike Dentale, he was the fucking great guy of the show, man. He's the voice of reason. Mike Dentale's like, guys, can we chill with this for a little bit?
My family the way I did to you, bro, we'd be outside.
Okay, good.
But
I still have a poker game to play.
Thank you. No, you're a bitch, bro.
Okay. Well, you're a broke poker player, a failed poker player.
Yeah, failed, bro.
Sick to being a CPA.
It just shows that you don't even fucking care about your wife, because I'm talking bare shit about her, and you don't give a fuck, bro.
It's okay. You don't belong anywhere.
So now I want to talk a little bit more about this comment about Shaun Deeb's wife, because I know Shaun Deeb's wife, shout out to Ashley, and I don't know, man. I watched this, and I don't care what went on. I talked with Salomon during the break when he was trying to rebuy chips. He called me on Snap. We talked on Snapchat while I was streaming on Twitch. So we got to say, there were some maybe things said to him before the show. But I find that I don't know, man. I think that's a little bit. When you say out of line, I don't know. That seems pretty disrespectful to me. Now, when you're going to, put down someone's wife and put down their family multiple different times, you're going to talk about taking people outside, challenging them to fights. I don't know. I don't know, man. People I don't know. To me, it just seems a little bit too much, right? A little bit too much. So then what happened was hashtag King Bust. They went on a break. He went to go get a wire. So he brought $7,000, I guess, and then he didn't have any more money when he busted, so he went to the cage to get this mysterious wire. Then he comes back to the table with only $2,000 when the minimum buy-in now is going to be $5,000. And then something happened that, quite honestly, I maybe have seen it a couple times at some of these live games, but never on a televised show have I seen this take place.
I'll end up with more money. That's what I want.
What?
I want more money in
not
my
the
stack,
best
and if
of
you're at the table,
insulting.
that's gonna happen.
Right, so
You're
then
gonna
you
get
should,
stacked again
then
by
you should
me.
swap me the
That's
2,000.
No, because it's gonna end up in my stack anyway. I'm
not
gonna
good
loan
with
you
the
money
English
just to end up
language.
back in my
That's the
stack.
That
Why? I'm giving
really
you
holds
3K
you
with
back.
it until I get my money.
I don't want anything that's ever touched your body. You're disgusting.
My
Shaun
chips
has a
touch
lot
my
of
body, you
confidence.
fucking retard.
Fair enough.
So then, Hashtag King sitting there at the table, shuffling his chips together. He decides it's a good idea to ask the guy he's been calling all these names for money at the table. He's trying to sell his watch. He's trying to sell his rings, his phone, his passport, all this stuff. It turns out when you've been talking constant shit, and even though people in the game may think you're a spot, they may think that you're making a lot of negative big blind for 100 mistakes, turns out it's not a good strategy to then sort of beg those people for money at the table and then get upset at them when they don't give you any money to keep playing with. All right, so then the Hashtag King finally realizes he's not going to get any money from the guys in the game. Once again, starts calling them fucking bitches, starts saying, I thought you guys were the biggest players in the world. And now I don't think what he failed to realize was that why would the players in the game want to borrow this guy money when they have some guy who's saying he brings a lot of money to the table, some guy is talking about challenging for $1 million heads-up matches, and yeah, from Canada, there's obviously the wire issue, but why are they obviously not going to give this guy money? You get upset at them for that. I mean, come on, man. What do you expect to happen in this spot? Right? You're trying to pawn off the possessions, talking about wires coming in and stuff like that. You know, I don't know, man. Obviously, I had Hashtag King on the podcast, and I treat everybody with a neutral standpoint. I try not to be too judgmental. I enjoyed the conversation with him, even though it was a little bit ridiculous. But I mean, come on, you know, and like I said, I talked with him on the Snapchat. You know, he told his story. Obviously, he's putting on a little bit of a character and a troll for the show. But at the same time, right? I don't know, man. Make for good TV? Sure, I guess so.
Work out a deal with us.
Okay,
you know?
so work it out, bro. Like, you guys are talking shit. Like, you guys are supposed to be the biggest players in the world. For $1,800, you don't want to spot me for fucking 20, 30 minutes? Like, okay, no problem.
Matt says Shaun's the biggest player.
Go find some new free clothes down at this casino.
Yo,
man.
bitch, shut the fuck up. You were fucking in tears before because you little fucking bitch.
You should have seen it. It was
know,
like
I saw it,
it was
bro.
a mess.
I heard him complain.
Yo,
I
you
heard
don't
him.
want
So a lot of people in the chat were talking about if I was playing with this guy, I'd go stick him in the motherfucking face. And now I think that's a pretty normal take to have on that. Some guy saying these things to you, you're gonna want to hit him in the face. I mean, obviously, the camera's rolling, the stream's rolling, you're playing these high stakes. You kind of want the guy who's playing a little bit fun to stay in the game and start to give away that money. Now, obviously, the camera's around too. You hit a guy in the face, you might not be able to play on the show anymore. So I know we got a lot of tough guys out there ready to stick a guy at any time for anything. But, you know, I don't know, man. You know, Hashtag King Bigger Guy. I don't necessarily know if some of these guys, if that actually would take place. I'd be interested to see if that would, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can understand people having that sort of reaction and having that sort of approach to handle that situation. And now I want to talk about this $1 million heads-up challenge against Doug Polk.
Here's the problem. It's all talk. You're not actually going to
Okay, I'm all talk, bro. Yeah, okay, you're gonna
So,
show up with
like,
$1 million?
if I
Bro,
schedule
if
my
you
life
tell me
around-
a fucking million, show up with $1 million, bro.
Can you like
You're
let me
telling me
talk,
you
or
only
you're
want
gonna-
no.
you're
Can I say one thing?
You're
Can
saying
we-
you
can
only
we-
want to play it in the
can
fall,
we play
right?
also at the same time, please?
Yo, fuck this game, bro. It's so nitty.
So now, you know, he's trying to berate Doug or trying to talk over Doug because Doug heads-up match, $1 million. First of all, do we think a $1 million heads-up match is going to take place? What do you think out there? I got to say, very small percentage of the time do I feel like Hashtag King's going to put up $1 million somehow and play my man Doug Polk heads up in a match. I just don't see it happening. So I just think it's a little ridiculous, but yeah, I don't know. I just need to talk about this more. I know a lot of people out there are interested in kind of what's happening with all this. And I think that, you know, one of my favorite parts of the show was after he busted and said he had to wait for more wires, he was on the rail, getting a massage, still yelling, bitch, still yelling things from the sideline. And you know what? I got to say, while I said all this, good or bad for poker, not sure. I don't know if he's going to come back on again, but I'd watch it. I'd be excited to watch it. And I think a lot of us out there would also be excited for it. I think the second time around, he's going to be even more exciting. So my prediction is we're going to see him on the show. And we're going to see him again. It's going to happen. And you know what? I feel like we're all going to tune in and we're all going to have some sort of polarized opinion on it. But we're probably all going to enjoy it in some weird, twisted, sadistic way. And before we go, I want to talk about Brandon Cantu. Now, Brandon Cantu was on the show. He came to the table with no money. He then put on an incredible performance on how to borrow money at a poker table. Ended up borrowing $5K from Shaun Deeb, then $2K, then $5K more, and proceeded to play like a complete fucking nit, boring player for the entire time. I do got to say, I slightly enjoyed the questioning that he had for all these situations. Now, he liked to call it trolling, and you know, I don't know. I think trolling is a very easy excuse people use when they say something and then someone's like, yeah, it's kind of fucking dumb. And they're like, I'm just trolling. I'm just trolling. But I don't really know what was happening. I thought it was funny. He doubled up. He had an all-in pre-flop after playing really tight. He was counting his money, blowing the hundreds in the air, thinking about what stripper he's going to go to that night. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what he's into. You know, maybe he's going to go back to the hotel, eat a cheesecake, and maybe watch something on demand. I'm not sure. But I seen that look in the eye before of a man. And I kind of know what I think he was about to do. But unfortunately, it didn't end well. He did end up down a little bit of money. His kings couldn't quite beat out pocket fives. And I think most people had an overall negative feedback to Brandon Cantu. I don't know, man. He kind of grew on me a little bit. At the same time, I get where people were coming from with it. But if he was on the show again, would I watch just for him? I don't know. Not sure.